DJ SharpMC live, back on track.
So, I got a bunch of tunes already laid out in terms of tracks that I put together, and I was going to film either doing them as a sequence to build a song or doing them as samples to build a song. Now, my favorite way is to do it as samples, but you have a lot less control in terms over the live performance because you're basically going to pick parts that you like, sample them, and then play back those samples as your mix. The other way, it was just much more organized, is you take all the tracks and you pick the sequences you like and you put them in order, and then you play those orders in sequence. I like these tunes. Let me play some of them for you just so you can kind of hear how it sounds. It's only 16 tracks, but they're pretty cool. So that's like all the tracks. And now let's start with a sequence, since that's probably the more professional way. So we'll figure out, we want to make a song. We already got, I think, pretty good amount of tracks and a pretty good amount of different variations. The only thing is, I think track 8, we don't have anything, so maybe we'll put something on track 8. Track 8 was my Juno, but I think I'm already using my Juno. So let's do, we'll do a channel on the 707, because the 707's got plenty of room, and I think I'm only using a couple on the 707 right now. So far on the 707, we have, I think the horns are on the 707. So this is channel 1, 707, that's channel 2, 707, that's channel 3, 707. So we can do channel 4, 707 on that spare. So this goes to channel 4. And this goes to MPC because it's routed through my MX1, so it's just basically going through MIDI. That's the sound. Let's bring up a little beat. We'll bring the ghost hats, the main hats, the kick, the snare, and let's see how that sounds. And let's check out some different chords. All right, let's see what happens if we go chromatic. All right, what about chords? kind of there. Those. And then let's play our lead, maybe our horn, and see if we can lay over the top of it. All right, nothing special, but it'll work for this video. Oh, I called it the same staff. I called it the other staff. I have two. All right, so we got some sound. All right, so now we got all our sounds and we want to build a beat. So we're going to build it by sequence. So we're going to go over to the song area. This is going to be our song area. This is where we're going to put all our sequences once we got them laid out. So now what I like to do is take my main sequence, come up with a start. So let's say we're going to start our track with maybe, we'll start it with that. That's pretty interesting. So then what I do is I go back to my main, I go sequence, copy this sequence, and this will be my start. All right? So now I just made a new sequence of just that one sound enabled. Okay? And right now, we'll keep it at 4 bars because we'll make a short version of doing it in sequence and a short version of doing it in samples. Maybe 2 videos, but we'll try to get in one. All right, so anyway, so we're back to sequencing it. So we got it. We're going to go back to our first track, and now when we start it, it's going to go like this. It's going to go. Okay, so then we want to bring something in next, and maybe what we'll bring in next is, or do we want to bring in this? Nope, or this. Oh, that's pretty good. Maybe these two? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll go slow and just do the ghost hats because the ghost hats sound the coolest. All right, so we got our second version of what we're going to do. We're going to sequence that out, and I'm going to just call this Start 2, or you can call it Intro. I think I'll call it Intro. That way we can have more than one intro, and then later if we need to use it as an outro, we'll know it's the outro. Okay, or we can take the intro and use it as outro. All right, so now we got the first start, and we got the intro. So it's going to, after the first one, it'll go to this one. And then from here, we can either go hard, or we can go mellow, or we can go high impact, or we can go variant, or extra, or experimental. All right, so I think the best of these is one of these leads. Like that, or this one, or this one. Oh, that sounds pretty strong. So it's that, or it's this. But you get a different vibe depending on which arrangement you do. And since I'm more house-like, we're gonna go with the melodic. And to not take too long to start getting to a beat, let's try the kick. Or maybe the snare. Or the horn. Or a snap. think I want something a little more involved, like the snare. All right, so this will be the next sequence that we copy over. This will be, I think, intro 2. Intro 2. Okay, so that's intro 2. So let's check it out. Maybe I'll take this away on the next part. Bring in the kick. Bring in the extra hat. Maybe bring in the snap. And enhance the lead. Or do the alternate lead. No, that's too strong. So maybe this. That sounds pretty good right there. Maybe we can add something. All right, so I think we'll just play them both. All right, so this will be, we'll make that my next track, and I'm gonna call it my main, because it's got pretty much all the parts that I'm gonna have for the main sequence. So this will be the main. And then, so it'll go from those first parts to the second part and into this main. Then I need to go off of this main to a variant. So maybe we'll go. So all right, so this will be the next piece that goes after that piece, because it just sounds like the next step in the sequence. So we'll just call this main number 2. All right, so that'll be our first piece or second piece. And now, since main 2 has got us going in the same direction as main 1, we want to try to mix it up. So to mix it up, we'll take off the snap, take off the snare, take off this lead, and maybe see if the pluck works. So I think this makes a good break. So then after all those, we'll come here, and this will be our first break. So we'll just call it break. We'll call it break 2 because it comes after 2. And I'm trying to have some organization about keeping the sounds and similar. So when you play one sound, you keep some of it similar, some of it change, and try to structure it so you can understand what you did. So in this case, I kept some of the sounds that was on number 2 or on the second main, and that way when it flows, it's going to sound like it goes. Okay, so anyway, so this is break 2, and then it needs to kind of get out of this break and go into the next groove. So I'm going to switch to this. And do I want to add this here? think I do. So this will be the next piece that comes after that piece, and I'm gonna call it, looks like break like 2A, because it kind of goes with the first break. It can stand on its own, but if they go behind each other, the first break 2 and then the second break 2, it'll sound like it was structured that way. All right, so now go back to our original that we're editing and keep all those sequences in order. Okay, so now we got this break 2, and we're going to start heading in a different direction. So then I'm going to bring up this one and this one, and I'll take out this, and I'll bring back in the snare. Yeah, that'll work. So then this becomes like main 3. So it's going to follow that break 2. Call it main 3. And I'm using the numbers as the order. So it's like 2, 3. And then if I have to keep something similar, I go A, B, that kind of structure. All right, so now, since I'm going to try to just finish this up, showing how to do it this way, let's go from here to like a crescendo. So we'll add all of those. We'll put this in. Yeah, we'll go with this. So this will be main 4, because it's kind of like a break, but it'll make a good follow-up to what we got going on. So sequence copy, main 4. You'll get it when we put the arrangement together. Okay, so we've got like the first half of the song, and we can either add more, but this is already like quite a bit. Quite a few elements, quite a few different directions we went in. And now I'm just going to try to do one more big one and then outro. So let's see, for the big one, we'll go take the kick out, and we'll go with this. We'll call this, I think, main 5. That's where I'm at. It's actually like a break, but we'll just call it main 5 so we don't lose track of where we are. Okay, and then from here, we'll go maybe we'll go there. So call that main 6. So at this point, now I would just start repeating any of the other sequences I already laid out, because we did quite a bit in terms of variation. So I'm going to build a song, and I'm just going to use those, and we'll show you. And then I'll think about doing it the other way if we still have time. I'll probably split it, but anyway, we'll get this one out the way, and you'll see I'll do a little bit so you can see what we're talking about. All right, so we're in the song. We now got all our pieces. We're just going to quickly do it. So the first one, we'll call it start. So we'll change this one start. Second one, we'll call intro. The third one, intro 2. The next one, main. The next one, main 2. The next one, break 2. The next one, break 2A. Insert a couple more. Then it's main 3. So main 2, break 2, break 2A, main 3, main 4, main 5, main 6. And then here, I would go back and either go back to the first main or bring a break in. But we'll just do this piece here so you can hear how it sounds. So this is a song in a sequence arrangement. You can shorten measures or longer, make measures longer if you wanted breaks to be shorter or main parts to repeat more. This is doing the sequence song. And now we loop back to a different break or a different part. So that's doing it the regular way or the normal way. Then the other way you could do it, which is where you kind of do it a little more by sampling it or doing it live, your sequence. And what you could do, another thing you do, which I should show you here while we're on this page, because I don't often do it this way, is once you got your whole sequence all done, the whole thing, you can convert this to one sequence and do it. So now all those layers have been converted to just one sequence. So if and I guess while I'm here, I might as well show you how to export it. You can export it as a WAV file, so I might as well export this, and I'll just call it MIDI song, and we'll just call it beats. Okay, so we'll save that. So now I've exported the file as a WAV file, so I can, upload it. I think I just signed up for DiskKid or something, but it's one of the distribution sites. So this way you can get your WAV files and your MP3s and upload them and put them somewhere else so they're getting some publicity or whatever. All right. So anyway, so that's doing it as a sequence, and I took that whole sequence and I saved it. So this is just that one sequence with the whole thing in one long track. There's the whole song. So you can export it and get the whole song in one track. And we'll just play the one track and you'll see the whole song's there. Yeah, see? And because it's all in one track, it's going to start enabling them. We'll do a little bit more, then I'll switch out. So that's taking your sequence, putting it into one. And then the other thing I was going to do, so that's one way of doing it. The other way I do it is I will take the sequence that I like, that's got all my tracks, and I'll take it and I'll copy it to a new one. And let's call this one song. Call this one song. All right, so song, do it. So now I've copied all of those tracks to a new sequence called song. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go here and I'm going to double the length, double the length, double the length. So that's 32. I think I'm going to go to 64 because we're going to get nuts with this. We're going to get a little bit nuts with it, at least a little bit fun. Anyway, so double the length. All right, so now, oops, that's not what I wanted to double the length on. All right, let's go back. All right, cool. So we're supposed to be on the new one we made. The new one we made is called Song. It's 32 bars, double the length. So now I took all those original tracks and I put them on one new sequence. And on this one new sequence, I have them all laid out, okay? So here's the other way that I like to do it. So I got this new sequence. I'm gonna go here and make sure I'm not on any track that I care about. I'm gonna pick a new track, this one, okay? And I call this my mix now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do that same kind of song scenario, but I'm gonna do it live, and I'm actually record it as a song sequence. And then I'll have my whole song, but it'll be done on the fly versus like mechanically one by one by one by one. Okay, so you can either do it the sequence way or you can do it this way. And this way you could do it either by making new samples of patches you like and play the samples, which is one way you can do it. That way you can like make a sample and then do a filter on it and then play the filtered versions and mix them up. But I'm gonna do the same thing with just the regular pieces. So this is my new track that I'm gonna record on. I'm recording on this track, and I got 64 bars, and I'm gonna build my song live and record all the mute steps. So this is like a mute step record. So check it out. I'm almost running out of bars. It goes to 64. Gotta start working on the ending. All right, so that's the whole song. So now I've got the other version that I did plus this version, which is all on one track. So if I did it right, it should play back this whole version as a whole different version and arrangement of the song. And we won't go through it all, but we might. We'll do some live mixing. So anyway, that's how we do the mix. Then you can take this one and export it as a wave, or copy this track to its own sequence, save it as a song. Anyway, so that's two ways to do it. Sequencing in it, or putting it on one and doing like muting each of the different sounds on one big track. Both are cool ways to do it. I like to do it different ways. As you can see, you get more creative when you do it the mute way, but sometimes, you know, you want to have more control and be able to go back and edit what you did, and it's a little easier when you do it the other way. So that's how it's done, or at least that's how I do it.
Sharp MC Live. Peace.